Hey everybody, it's ShadowStar here for another Doctor Who review. This time it's Rogue, an absolutely delightful episode. This is going to be the most delightful episode so far since Devil's Court. I've loved some of the other episodes, but there were bits in them, but I was loving them more for their concepts than the episodes themselves. This is one where I was just having fun the whole way through. This is a fun episode all the way through, and that's what makes it so good. There was, unlike some of the other episodes this season, there was not a single episode I was bored. There wasn't a point where I'm going, where is this going? I was just along for the ride, and I was loving it. We get an episode in the past, and it's so good to have an episode in the past, because, Devil's Court was in the past, but it barely felt like it because we were focusing more on the villain than anything else. But this one, we really embrace ourselves with it. Starting with the outfits. All the characters look amazing in their outfits, especially the Doctor. The music. Murray Gold hits it out of the park with the music. We'll touch on that in a minute because there was one bit with music I adored. And it's just nice to be in the past. We get this intriguing new character. Let's start off by talking about our intriguing new character who everyone had 10 billion fan theories about who this was, and thank goodness for that. All of you were wrong. It was just a new character. I knew it would be a new character. There was no twist. There was no anything like that. It was a new character. Thank goodness for that. There were some people who had some weirdest of weird fan theories about who this character would be. But they were a character right from the beginning that we were enjoying. There was just something about him. He managed to sell us instantly with this character. Instantly, you were hooked to this character. It became more about him and the Doctor than it did about Ruby, although Ruby was still delightful in it. And, I like how they didn't waste any time. They really set it off really well, where it didn't feel like the tension between the two of them came out of nowhere. It really built up well from that scene in his spaceship, that scene later on in the TARDIS, and then, of course, the ending. That was a scene that was just... I usually don't melt over things like this, but that dancing scene, whew, I was enjoying that. You know what? This episode is going to upset the right crowd so much, and I love it. Upset them. Go on, do it. If you're going to upset them, you may as well as upset them a lot. But there's just something about him, especially putting him in this outfit. This character is so enigmatic and amazing. It's just like the Doctor. Oh my god, the Doctor in this episode was on fire. The Doctor was on fire in this episode. The bit where he gets furious about thinking Ruby died, brilliant. I'm actually surprised it didn't snow then. The bit where, although I guess the lack of snow could have hinted about the fact that it wasn't Ruby. And just the Doctor showing off to this guy. The Doctor in the spaceship when he's toying around with the music. Oh, the music, once again, playing that music. This episode is really selling me on the Doctor. I mean, after 2 episodes of not really having him around, this episode sold me on the Doctor so much. I mean, I still loved him before, but wow, this episode. Oh, of course, we have to talk about that bit where he says, scan me. And at first it just scans a picture of David Tennant. Then it scans a picture of a bunch of other Doctors, and they're not in order. And I swear... there were some Doctors I didn't recognize. They showed the Ruth Doctor, but I swear, maybe the picture was just weird, but it felt like they were showing random faces. And I won't lie, I quickly saw online, somebody pointed out, they showed off one of the animated Doctors from Scream the Shulker or whatever it's called. So that's going to screw with people's fan canons or whatever even more. Russell's just saying literally everything's canon. I scan for everything. But hey, that's the first time we've really referenced the past, We've not had returning characters or villains. Actually, we did have one returning character in 73 Yards, and I believe they're back next week. But otherwise, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about our villains. They're fun villains. They just want to cause chaos, shapeshift into other people, and enjoy they just see the past as something to play around in. I kind of like that idea. They just see the past as the shapeshifters who just want to not necessarily literally blend in, but then just play around as if it's all just a little game to them. And I kind of like that idea. They're not the most grandstanding villains of the episode, but they serve the purpose. They're fun villains for an episode that needed a villain, but they're not the focus. The focus of the episode is this new character, Rogue, who, again, he was just amazing, and I really, really, really hope we see him again. They set it up where they say we might see him again, and he says, "Come find me." So please let us bring this character back. If he's a brand new recurring character, that'd be great. Imagine if this guy becomes like the new kind of River Song or Captain Jack Harkness type of situation. Not in terms of their character, but just kind of they give off that vibe. They're somebody who can really go toe to toe with the Doctor. There's somebody who, they're not a regular human, or at least they're not a regular earthbound human. So, if they do become a recurring companion, they could be that type of character. But all in all, and I was talking about the music, that bit where we find out Ruby's not dead, and she starts fighting off the alien, and then I had to replay this sequence. My jaw dropped when I heard this. There was a violin rendition of Poker Face. My jaw dropped, and that was just woven so well into the music. Please, please, please tell me that Murray Gold put that in the actual soundtrack and release it. I will die if that becomes part of the official soundtrack, because when I heard that, I replayed it, and I was like, holy shit, that was the best thing in the episode. That moment, that was the best thing in the episode. I absolutely loved it. I was like, no way. Between that and him playing with the music in the spaceship earlier, I was just, oh my god, the music's been on fire in this episode. Murray Gold is killing it. The costume department is killing it. Shooty Gatwa was on fire, whether he's angry, sorrowful. I mean, we know he can do crying. At this point, he's cried in every episode he's been in. But, this time it really mattered. He's really, between whether he thinks he was losing Ruby and then losing Rogue, that dancing scene between him and Rogue, oh my god, whew, excuse me. Or that bit where, and of course you get that climactic moment right before he grabs the control. Oh, there was a lot in this episode. Ruby was great in this episode too. Ruby was really good. I'm really loving her as a companion in this episode. But all in all, I can't really think of much negative to say about this. I don't know if this is my favorite of the season so far, because I still love 73 Yards for what it did. But I think this is going to be high up there. This is another one where we finally have a fun character. And I feel like after 2 weeks of not really having the Doctor, this is also one where I don't feel like we're getting nearly as divisive, Last week had a very heavy-handed bit at the end. 73 Yards split the fan base, and not in a negative way, it just kind of split people in half. This is one where we see it, and I think most people are loving this so far. Maybe there's negative people, and I mean proper negativity, not like the people who are going to hate this for the obvious reasons, and for those I say, ha! This was so good that you can just... This episode was so, let's face it, in-your-face gay. It's gonna give a certain crowd a heart attack. Good. Anyway, enough about laughing about those idiots. This episode was brilliant from beginning to end. There was not a dull moment. There wasn't a moment where I was wondering where this is going. There wasn't a moment where I was bored. I loved the new character. The villains were kind of fun. Silly, but fun. Ruby played her part very well from beginning to end. It was so nice to have a period episode, an episode set in the past. And the music, the dancing, the homoerotic nature of it all. I just loved it from beginning to end. Anyway, I've rambled on about how much I love this episode. I really can't say much negative about this episode. And this episode kept me going. 1 minute, 1 minute we're being shown old faces. 1 minute we're being shown cool music or homoerotic dances or anything. So, this episode kept me going from moment to moment. And that's the best part about it. Anyway, I'm excited for the next 2 episodes, of course. We only have 2 episodes left. I really enjoyed this one. But anyway, I will see you next week for more Doctor Who reviews and other things as well. See you next time, guys.